I want to hear all about MPI now.
About MPI?
Yeah, Meeting Professional.
Meeting Professionals International?
Yeah, well, and all the destination stuff you're doing. Destination Toronto, Destination Canada.
Niagara Falls Business Events.
I love the pink jacket, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I figure it goes with the theme of the conference.
Totally, yeah.
It's spring. I'm kind of done with the dark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's my corporate color, but it's not. Yeah.
So what's looking ahead the next year or two? Like, what are you focused on and interested in?
So the next year is still a catch up from COVID, so there's a lot of rebookings, a lot of, both on a citywide conventions coming into Toronto and Niagara Falls. So, things that were on the books for the last few years are now finding space as they're coming in. So we're executing some large 2,000 to 6,000 person events here. And then our regular clients are ramping up again. They've been home-based. They want to get their employees out, their sales teams out. A lot of sales kickoffs are happening, so that's interesting. And then during COVID, we were very lucky that we did go virtual as a meeting planning company. So we actually acquired new clients that used us never in person, but they used us for video conferencing, and now they've moved to either hybrid or in person. So we're actually at a convergence where we've had our best March ever. We executed 20 events in March, which is usually a quiet month for us. And we're going to finish with over 100 events by our year end, which is August. So
wow.
For a small team, it's great. We've tripled our team since COVID, which is great.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's good right now, and we're hoping it'll continue for the next few years. But because we've grown and we have specialists in various different things like video and decor and entertainment, we're able to kind of expand our offerings to our clients as well.
Oh wow. So these bigger conferences, like what are some of them? What are some of the challenges, like PDAC and different ones, where you've got really big groups of people taking over the city pretty much?
Yeah, so I guess our biggest one is transportation. So if they're choosing an offsite venue in Toronto, as you know, streets are being closed. We have a huge event at the Sheraton. We have to move 550 people out in 30 minutes to go east to a venue. So now we can't go up York Street and turn right on Queen, and we can't go south because of all the construction.
Oh, wow.
And we have to move them on a day when they predict a new Maple Leafs game or a Game 4. So there's a lot of issues with transportation and moving groups around, but also there's a shortage of drivers in the city and a shortage of vehicles. So I'm finding some really unfortunate incidences where people are confirming buses, but in small print they're writing, we'll confirm the bus 30 days out. They're doing that to various people, and then 30 days out they're taking the ones that are paying the highest amounts and canceling those that may have booked in advance and their partners.
Sounds like some DJ companies I've heard about.
It is unfortunate, right? And same with staffing and decor. It is integrity, and where are those people going to go when we don't have those back-to-back citywides in the city? They're going to come knocking, right?
It reminds me of Bobby Bland's song, "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City."
But yeah, so I think the whole traffic is really impacting. So we're really encouraging all our groups to find places to walk to, and also try to use the TTC. But once again, some people are hesitant, especially people from smaller communities, from U.S. cities that don't use public transportation. They're not comfortable in using our public transportation.
Yeah, especially women at night and stuff. I know there's been some situations the last few years.
Absolutely. Yeah. But our European travelers, they want to walk. They want to use TTC.
What about having a brass band lead them down, just take over the street and just have a band lead them like Peter Piper?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Entertainment. We have a boom bike. It's a bicycle sound system that's like an ice cream truck.
No.
Yeah, and we can just lead them along.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. I think I need to get your information.
Cool. So what do you, what's changed from before the times that we won't mention and after? What's changed in your role, your responsibilities, the things that are getting asked of you?
I think we're being asked to do a lot more prep work for groups that a lot of large corporations might have downsized their meetings group or got rid of their meetings departments, right, during COVID, because they weren't planning meetings. So a lot of those senior planners, those planners that worked at those companies, there's actually a lot of retirement. or very junior people being hired back into those roles. So we're asked to do a lot more proposals and more in-depth proposals, and people don't know what to ask for or know sometimes about the ethics about asking for.
It's almost like the wedding industry, just bewildered clients.
It is, yeah. So it's like you're trying to explain to them why things cost what they are, or why you need event insurance, or, you can't just get, a hotel won't just hold rooms for you without a signed contract, right? People are like, well, I'll make a decision in a month from now. I'm like, no, most of the decisions are end of day, or everybody's on a second hold versus on a first hold, and basically the first person signing.
Money talks.
Money talks.
Make a commitment, yeah.
So that's a big shift, and also the rates. Obviously rates are going high. That on the DMC side, where we do the decor, the table linens, the flips. That's where we're starting to see people pulling back, because airfares are sky high, so they might have booked, thought this is their budget for 2019, but as you know, airfare from 2019 to now has in cases doubled, and then hotel rates actually in the city have also doubled, right? So those are mandatory. If you have the space and the air, you have to come to the city. But so they're looking for those other line items, right? So that's where they're coming to us and saying, well, maybe we don't need floral arrangements, maybe we'll just do candles, or, once again, they're saying, well, can you find student entertainment for exposure? I'm sure you get asked for that. And I'm like,
up in the north, we die of exposure every winter.
I love that. Exactly.
It's a little bit Canadian out.
And you're hearing that with speakers. I think that's an issue going on. Maybe I think this group has also brought up, right? Like, you're asked to be a speaker for free everywhere, or can you get speakers to come? I had, people asking me for big athletes and things, and they're like, these people don't need to come to your event. They don't need to promote themselves anymore, right? Like, there are speaker fees attached. And even for those people making, moving up in the speakers world, you want them to be around 5 years from now to be real speakers. So
yeah.
I think what's being asked of the middleman now, and those smaller pieces of a large overall conference, I think those line items are being switched, and they shouldn't be, because those are the people that actually made it through, and you're going to need them over the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Especially with advanced hotel and transportation costs, if they're covered or not. What are you excited about? Like, what are you passionate about in the next few years to really dig your teeth into?
I love that people are realizing that virtual isn't working for team building. Like, it did work where we needed it to be, but that connection, and it doesn't have to be in the office, because a lot of people aren't in their offices. They might be home-based, but I'm seeing, what I'm liking is people coming together, doing those special team buildings, do those special tours together, go watch a game together, and not necessarily always have an education component, because you can do the education component via Zoom, but you really need to know, are you sick? Is your husband sick? What are your kids doing? Why did you have to take that afternoon off? It's like, my kids got to make a rep team, right? And I think once you understand your teammates better in those situations, you work better as a team. And I love doing different team buildings, whether it's, glass blowing, or a day at the ballpark, or learning how to dragon boat together. I like figuring out new, unique activities that people can do as a group, and not just FOMO moments, right? Like actually getting in where people are talking to each other, and including spouses or significant others as well in a lot of these team building family events.
You're creating culture, essentially, like using,
very much so.
Yeah, emotional intelligence, and I find that's what's missing in a lot of companies. They don't feel like it's a family because they don't do anything other than just the work all the time. So
yeah.
What's something that's missing, that's the missing ingredient that you want to bring in the next few years?
I think that's it, like you said, that sense of community. We need to get back to that, and that's where you brought up associations. Like, a lot of associations lost a lot of memberships in our industry, like Meeting Planners International, PCMA, which is Professional Conference Planners Association, SITE, Society of Incentive Travel Executives. They're all really important for us to learn from each other, and also call out people that are doing things wrong in the industry, right? And those suppliers that support our associations, we should make sure we're giving back to them. So we need to get back to creating these communities, finding a way, like a lot of those dollars are pulled out of, from corporate planners that they won't pay for their association membership. we really need to look at a way that we can get these people back into membership. Can we restructure those fees? Can we make, bring a partner, bring a friend, bring a planner? I have a bigger group now too. I have 15 planners on my staff. I can't pay a $500 or $600 membership for every single one of them, and nor can we go to all those events. But if there's a way we could flip off easier, right? And go to some of those events and really look where those, offer those scholarships or work with your partners to get people together and talking about our industry again.
Interesting. We have an app we use to let guests vote on the music, so it lets us listen to the crowd and have ESP. What are some ways that you've used data or like listening? Because what you were saying about networking, it reminded me of Julius Solaris just saying the data doesn't lie. People are skipping the educational stuff to get to the networking. Like, is there ways that you've used data to listen to the audience to give them more of what they want?
We try to do polls and things, like especially, would you come? And also, when you're planning an event, the data side, poll your audience on what time is it good to have an event. I've been having some events downtown that start at 5 and 6. Well, if like Toronto is filled with concerts, Blue Jays games, and Maple Leaf games. To me, if you're starting an event downtown at 5 o'clock, I'm not coming.
There was a recent one too where it was like Leafs and Raptors, and it was right in the heart of where basically they're saying it's a pedestrian village.
Exactly.
And I really wanted to go, but it was in the heart of darkness at that moment, and I didn't have the right colors. I wasn't wearing my blue.
Absolutely. Like, you have to be mindful of timing. And there's a lot of sessions. Oh, let's do a breakfast session that starts at 7:30. Well, if you live in the GTA, you don't want to be at any breakfast session trying to get in, whether it's via GO train or driving, right? So you really have to poll your audience about how and when to create these events, right? And also make sure a new thing in trends is not just cocktail receptions, make sure there are mocktail options, because it's really, there's some beautiful mocktails now, and people are cutting down on the drinking, right? So
I've heard that you're supposed to call them social hours now, to be so socialized, because society is social to create.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily.
It's not a drink fest.
Yeah.
So I think there has to be some social responsibility around that as well. So I think timing and type of event is very important moving forward as well.
Well, it's great to meet you. Is there any final notes that we should be looking forward to, or anything?
I think this is great. I think to have all these suppliers here, and thank you to these guys, Byrne and for CSE for holding this, because I think it's great that we do have this, and it's very important for the industry.
Creating community here. Thanks, Anita.
Thank you so much.
Nice to spend time with you.